Hello everyone and welcome to UE 99.7 TV station. My name is Thomas in the studio this afternoon. It is a very awesome day that all of us here in the studio and out there as listeners are doing well. Today on our channel, we have a very interesting and exciting issue to address to everyone because it is a very demanding one since it causes a lot of lives and pollutes the environment. The issue is, are 21st century wars justified? Yesterday on my way home, I encountered two of the journalists with whom I addressed this issue, and since they are kind, they told me that these wars are not justified. Because of many reasons, they asked me if they can come to UE TV station to tell us why these wars are not justified. So, in the studio today, here are the visitors who will be engaging us in this issue so that I and you may come to know how the world of today lives its life. The following are the visitors. Mr. Bala, a journalist from India.
Yeah.
Mr. Babu, also a journalist from Indonesia. Welcome.
Assalamualaikum.
Mr. Binod from India as an audience. Welcome. And Mr. Satish from India also representing the audience. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you.
But before they tell us about this issue, let me start by introducing to you what war is all about. War is one of the cruelest and most complex events in human history. Many individuals find war to be an intriguing topic that is rich with dramatic tales and insights into human nature. Here, United Nations, that is the UN, prohibits using force or threatening to use it against other states illegally, and war is outlawed. And since 1945, war has been seen as an unacceptable means of resolving international disputes. Furthermore, the results of war is a threat to environmental safety and preservation. This indicates that there is no justification for wars, especially in the 21st century, because of the obvious dangers they pose to life and the environment at large. In the 21st century, wars continues to be a contentious issue with numerous conflicts and military interventions occurring worldwide. As such, the question of whether the 21st century wars are justified remains a contentious issue. While some people argue that wars may be necessary to protect national interests, others argue that there can never be any justification for war. In this presentation, we will explore the two opposing viewpoints and examine the extent to which the 21st century wars may or may not be justified. And at this juncture, let me welcome the first journalist from India, and his name is Mr. Simran. Let us welcome Mr. Simran to tell us why the 21st centuries are not, the 21st century wars are not justified. So let us welcome Mr. Simran to tell us.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for welcoming me this to share about the war is justified or not justified. So in my viewpoint, I can say it's not justified. One of the reasons why the war is not justified in 21st century because of the unnecessary loss of life, resulting in the increased number of civilians killed by bombings and the combination of force during the attack. This reveals that many people die because of deliberate deliberate killing and massacre, massive bombing, disease, like when the economy is polluted, or bombing, when bombing, water are polluted and people get sick or disease, and starving. When war is there, people starve because there is no food, and no, sometimes they lose job. That time they don't get. So this most of the time, children and women are affected. For example, we can see some death in war. Is Iraqi war. At least 58,000 Iraqi civilians were killed by bombing or shot. And also in Ukraine conflict has been estimated to the number of death of civilians or non-armed individuals. In Ukraine at around 8.3 thousand since the start of the war on February 24, 2022. And in death in Gaza war, according to the main estimate, between 2,125 and 2,310 Gazans were killed, and between 10,600 to 26 and 10,895 were wounded, including 3,374 children, of whom over 1,000 were left permanently disabled. So we can see the war is not justified because people lose a lot of life in the war.
Thank you, Mr. Simran Bara, for letting us know the reason why these wars are not justified, because of the fact that you said that there is a loss of lives of people in these wars. So thank you very much, Mr. Simran.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for welcoming me. And it is a pleasure for me to be with you here in the studio. And when we talk about the topic of if the second century war is really real. When you consider the positive impact of Ukraine and Russia, we said that these two nations are major producers and exporters of numbers of goods, such as wheat, corn, sunflower, oil, and fertilizer. But as a result of this World War II, between these both countries, had a negative impact of these economics, both nations as well as of Europe. This implies that the war broke out between Russia and Ukraine had a negative impact on the economics of both as well as other European nations. Thus, the effect of the conflict spread beyond the immediate participants and affected a larger area. This consequence is rising costs of food, grain, and natural gas and oil. For instance, oil, which formerly cost 100 US, now costs to 2,000 US. And as a result of this, the political risk growing instability, unstable stock price movement, supply chains disruption, deteriorating electricity prices, and barriers to economic growth are reducing investment in global economy. This means that a decreased investment in the global economy is caused by a number of factors, including political risk, stability, changing stock prices, supply chain disruption, decreasing energy prices, and barriers to economic growth. These elements are creating a negative investment environment and making investors cautious and careful about giving their capital to the world economy.
Thank you, Mr. Babu, also for letting us know that these wars are not justified, because you say that there is an economic effect due to the fact that there is increase in food price and fuel price have been increased. So thank you for letting us know, because I know people will not have the clue to tell us how the wars are, because they are concentrating on what they can consume in their bodies. So thank you, Mr. Babu, for your knowledge.
Thank you, Mr. Thomasi Wambazu, allowing to share this world is not justified. So what this two audience they said about because of bombing, killing innocent peoples. Yes, it can be justified. Even war is unjustifiable. There are arguments that challenge this position. War can be justified in many ways. For instance, the description of terrorist groups creating because this action is meant to kill or seriously injure the civilian or enemies with the aim of terrorizing the public or forcing a government or international organization to take certain action which against the civilian. Terrorist force that could lead to death or significant bodily harm, or hostage taking with the goal of inciting of state of dread in the general public or in a specific group of people. And it is against human right. So it has to be stopped by using force. War is one of the means to achieve peace term. Therefore, it can be justified. Other hand, war results in a positive impact on every country. The right to defend the war in order to protect their country. War can improve an economy by generating jobs. War also positively impact product, particularly that of weapons and material use. When in a war, more people purchase weapon and all that can be used by the weapon. During the war, there is an increase in the amount of money. Trade war also help those who sell weapons and improves the economy. So even though it prepares that conflict involves both violence and force, it can still be justified in this way.
Thank you very much, Mr. Binod Minj, for your concrete argument, especially on going against what the journalist said, that the wars are not justified. And on your part, you said these wars are being justified due to the fact that you say that these wars are justified because they are a source of peace and protection. That means your argument towards these 21st century wars to be justified, it is really true, because these wars, even me, I believe that these wars, when I see people fighting, they may be creating peace and they may be protecting each other so that they can overcome all those anger in themselves. So
Thank you for inviting me. Okay, as Mr. Binod gave some reason that war cannot be justified. War can be justified as when terrorists takes action unjustly that takes unnecessary lives of many people. Also, terrorists does some organization which is unlawful. So terrorism has to destroy by using war or nuclear defense system. In addition, when a country is attacked negatively, when the country has right to defend the war by using nuclear and many defense systems in order to protect the country and its citizens, or to take action with the aim to protect or promote peace, it is still war cannot be justified, because due to war between offender and a defender results in massive loss of lives between the offender and defender because of use of nuclear system. Even when the country is being attacked, both countries use of nuclear weapons. Look at, for example, Ukraine and Russia using many defense systems. In this way, both sides suffer an immeasurable loss of lives and property in the country. Additionally, in the 21st century, if you see war in Iraq, Russia, and Taliban, even now look at Ukraine and Russia, the impact of war caused economic, that how rest of the world is suffering now, is finding so difficulties, because the Ukraine used to export the quality of wheat, and Russia used to export the oil, and now stop exporting because of the war which is taking place, and the prices is affected in many different parts of the world. Moreover, as a result of war, the land soil has been polluted by the direct bombing. The soil has been moved from one place to another, which affected negatively social order. Also, quality of river water has been contaminated by war. Even seawater has been affected, whereby warship has been destroyed in the sea, and many lives, many living beings affected negatively. Therefore, war is not justifiable.
thank you, Mr. Satish Minj, for really giving us a good argument on remaining on the point of the journalists saying that these wars are not justified. So thank you very much for letting us know. And since most of us agree that these wars are not justified, let us agree to that, because the majority of us, especially we have two journalists saying the same thing, and only one audience is against them, saying that these wars are not justified. And these wars are justified. So let us say that these wars are not justified. So thank you, Mr. Satish Minj, for your argument.
My pleasure.
Thank you all of you for accepting the invitation, especially to come and talk to the people, especially me and those who are listening out there. And I advise you that always tune to this channel. It is UE 99.7 TV station. So thank you very much, starting from the journalists and the audiences, for your acceptance to be invited in this studio. So in the conclusion, the issue of whether this 21st century wars are justifiable is a complex one. While some wars may be necessary to protect natural interests or prevent human rights abuses, modern warfare often leads to high civilian casualties and may create new problems. Ultimately, the decision to go to war should be made only after careful consideration of all the potential consequences and with a clear understanding of what can realistically be achieved. And these 21st century wars are not justified, according to our journalists, because of the fact that a number of people have been killed in the battlefield. And that is a real thing, that in the war, people die. And as a result, since it is a direct war, civilians have lost their lives, including innocent people, as you know. And moreover, as a result of war again, the quality of river water have been polluted. Even seawater have been affected negatively by direct war. In addition, violence or war has really changed the climate negatively, and also the direct bombing of land soil has been destroyed. So what I can really argue, listeners, and you, the same journalists and the audiences of the studio, what I can argue is that let us put together our hands to really talk to the people, talk to the nations about what entails when it comes to wars. So thank you everyone for joining us, and please come back tomorrow for the next session. At the next session tomorrow, we will explore more about all this so that we can really come to a clear conclusion that these wars are either justified or not justified. Thank you everyone.